Amaka wiped sweat from her forehead as she arranged the last basket of tomatoes on her small market table. The sun was already hot, and the noise of the busy street market surrounded her. Shouts, horns, laughter, and bargaining. She sat on her low plastic stool and took a deep breath. Another long day was beginning. She looked across the street where her older sister, Ifeoma, stood beside their family's supermarket. Large, modern, and well decorated, it stood like a castle compared to her little corner. Ifeoma caught her eye and smirked. Then she turned to the group of relatives beside her and said loudly, "Can you believe Amaka chose to sell pepper and onions on the roadside instead of joining the family business? She said she wants to be independent. Look at her now, fighting flies and sunburn." The laughter that followed stung more than Amaka expected. Her cousins, uncles, even her own mother chuckled. One of them added, "She always thought she was too special. Look at her now, selling like a poor woman." Amaka looked away, trying not to cry. She didn't sell here because she failed. She did it because she had a dream to build something by herself. She had tried to work with the family, but no one took her seriously. They treated her like a child. They laughed when she suggested ideas. They called her stubborn when she wanted to start something new. So she walked away. She took her small savings and rented a table near the market. Her phone buzzed, but she ignored it. Probably another reminder to come back home or join the supermarket again. She didn't want pity. She wanted respect. But today, their laughter felt heavier than usual. Maybe she really was wasting her time. Maybe they were right. A young boy walked up to her stall, holding a dirty 200 naira note. "Auntie, please, I want pepper for my mummy." She smiled, picked some, and gave him more than the money could buy. "Tell your mummy I said thank you," she said gently. As the boy ran off, a black SUV pulled up beside the stall. The door opened, and a tall, well-dressed man stepped out. He looked directly at Amaka and smiled like he knew her. Then he spoke loudly enough for the others across the street to hear. "There she is, the woman who changed my life." The market froze. Amaka blinked, confused. Her heart pounded. Who was this man? Across the street, her sister and relatives had stopped laughing. They watched, stunned. The man took a step forward. "Amaka, you don't remember me, do you?" he said. "Years ago, you gave a stranger something that saved him. Today, I came to return the favor." She stood slowly, still silent. Everyone was watching now, and for the first time in a long time, they weren't laughing. Amaka was the youngest daughter in her family, but she was also the boldest. While others followed rules and stayed inside the comfort of family money, Amaka had always dreamed of something different. She wanted to build her own life, not live in someone else's shadow. Her father, Mr. Chibuzo, passed away when she was just 12. He was the only one who ever believed in her ideas. After his death, everything changed. Her mother, Mrs. Grace Chibuzo, became cold and strict. She put all her energy into growing the family supermarket, and her oldest child, Ifeoma, became the favorite. Ifeoma was smart, confident, and knew how to impress adults. She started managing the supermarket straight out of university and was praised by everyone. Amaka, on the other hand, didn't like following orders. She had small ideas, ways to help the business grow through social media, better packaging, home delivery. But every time she suggested something, Ifeoma shut her down. "You don't understand business," she would say. Their mother never defended Amaka. Slowly, Amaka started feeling like a stranger in her own home. After her NYSC, Amaka asked to handle a new branch. Instead, her request was laughed at. Her cousins, Chinedu, Ada, and Michael, joined in too. They were all involved in the supermarket business, and they all believed Amaka was too emotional, too soft, and too stubborn. She left the house 2 weeks later, moved into a small one-room apartment, and used her NYSC savings to buy a plastic table, 2 baskets of tomatoes, and a bag of onions. She told no one. At the market, life wasn't easy. The sun was harsh, customers were difficult, and people looked down on her because she once came from a wealthy family. But for the first time, she felt free. She was building something with her own hands. Even if it was small, it was hers. Still, the loneliness cut deep. Her mother didn't call. Her siblings ignored her. Ifeoma blocked her on WhatsApp. Some nights she lay on her small mattress staring at the ceiling, asking herself if she made a mistake. But she would always remember her father's words. "If your dream is real, your results will speak for you." Then there was Uche, a childhood friend who visited her stall often. He didn't laugh at her. He asked how her day went, brought her cold drinks, and sometimes helped her carry baskets. Amaka liked him. He was kind, calm, and never judged her. But even he didn't fully understand why she left the comfort of her family to sell vegetables. What Amaka didn't know was that her small act of kindness years ago, something she barely remembered, was about to return in the biggest way. A stranger she once helped was now looking for her, and when he found her, everything would change. At home, Ifeoma continued to run the family supermarket like a queen. She often made jokes about Amaka, calling her the market princess during family meetings. Mrs. Chibuzo never corrected her. To her, Amaka had brought shame to the family. Her decision to sell at the roadside was seen as a failure, a sign of rebellion. But behind Ifeoma's confidence was fear. The supermarket was not doing as well as before. Sales were dropping. Customers complained about the staff. They lost a big supplier recently, but Ifeoma didn't want anyone to know. She kept pretending everything was fine. Meanwhile, Amaka's little stall started growing. Customers returned because her prices were fair, her goods were fresh, and she treated them with respect. She learned fast how to talk to people, how to bargain, how to build trust. Uche even designed a simple online page for her, and people started ordering through WhatsApp. One afternoon, Amaka got a call from a woman named Mrs. Eretti. She said she worked with a local NGO that helped train small business owners. She had heard about Amaka from someone in the market and wanted to meet. Amaka agreed, not thinking much of it. The woman visited the next day, impressed by how Amaka handled her customers. She said the NGO had a program to support women entrepreneurs and invited Amaka to a workshop. That workshop opened doors. Amaka met people, learned skills, and got a small grant to expand her business. She bought a second table and hired a teenage girl, Chika, to help her. She started selling in small cartons and doing home deliveries nearby. Customers kept coming. Slowly, her dream started taking shape, but her family still didn't notice, or maybe they just didn't care. Until that day, when the SUV stopped beside her table and a powerful man stepped out, looking at her like she was someone important, until he said the words that made everyone silent. There she is, the woman who changed my life. Suddenly, her past, her struggle, her choices, all of it was about to make sense. The man stepped closer to Amaka's stall. He looked calm, but serious. Amaka's heart was racing. She still didn't know who he was or what he was talking about. I don't expect you to remember, the man said gently. 5 years ago, I was sitting by the roadside. I hadn't eaten in 2 days. I had lost everything. My job, my house, even my wife had left me. People walked past like I didn't exist. Then you came. Amaka frowned, confused. You didn't know me, he continued, but you gave me food. You didn't ask questions. You smiled. You said, "Don't give up. Your story is not over." That night, I slept with hope for the first time in months. The market was quiet. People had stopped shopping. They were listening. That act changed me, he said. I got help. I started again. Today, I run a company that supports young businesses. I've been looking for you for months, Amaka, and now that I found you, I want to help you grow what you've started here. Amaka's mouth opened, but no words came out. Across the street, Ifeoma and her mother were frozen. Chinedu stepped forward, eyebrows raised. "Wait," he said. "You want to work with her? This is just a roadside seller. We have a supermarket over there. Real business." The man turned to him calmly. "I know. I've done my research. And I've made my choice." Chinedu scoffed. "She's family, but she's not serious. She left because she couldn't handle real business." The man didn't argue. He looked back at Amaka. "I'm offering you a partnership. My company will help you expand, register your brand, and give you tools to reach more customers. But more than that, I want to tell your story. The world needs to hear about you." Amaka finally spoke. "Why me? Because kindness matters. Because you helped me when no one else did. And because you remind me of who I used to be." Later that evening, after the man left his business card and drove off, Amaka sat in her small room, still shaking. She stared at the card in her hand. His name was Mr. Tunde Akinle, CEO of a major African startup accelerator. She called Uche. "I don't understand what's happening," she said. Uche laughed. "You're being seen, Amaka. You're being rewarded." Tears rolled down her cheeks. She hadn't cried in months, but now she couldn't stop. The next day, Ifeoma came to her stall. "You can't be serious," she said coldly. "You're going to accept help from some man who claims you changed his life." Amaka looked at her without blinking. "Yes, because I believe in what I'm doing, and because I finally know I was never crazy. You're embarrassing this family." "No," Amaka replied quietly. "You did that when you all laughed at me like I was nothing." Ifeoma slapped her. The market gasped. Amaka didn't flinch. She held her cheek and said, "I won't fight you, but this is the last time you'll ever speak to me like that." The slap changed everything. The crowd around the stalls saw it. Videos were taken. Within hours, one clip went viral. Family slaps daughter who dared to dream different. People were angry. Comments poured in. The story spread. Amaka started receiving messages from other women, strangers, even journalists. She wasn't just a girl selling tomatoes anymore. She had become a symbol, a face for women, trying to break free from family expectations, from mockery, from silence. And the world was finally listening. After the slap, things changed quickly. The video spread fast, and people started talking. Some supported Amaka. Others said she should have stayed with her family. But the truth was out now. People saw how she had been treated. At home, Ifeoma was furious. She shouted at her mother, "Why didn't you stop her from posting that video?" Mrs. Chibuzo looked tired. "She didn't post it. Someone else did. And you should not have slapped her. That was shameful." "I was trying to protect the family," Ifeoma shouted. "She's ruining our name." Their mother was quiet for a moment. Then she said something Ifeoma didn't expect. "No, Ifeoma, you're angry because she's finally being seen, and you're not used to sharing the spotlight." That night, Ifeoma didn't sleep. She stayed up scrolling through comments, reading news blogs that were now writing about the market girl with a dream. Everyone was praising Amaka. Her stall was now famous. People were even coming to the market just to see her. Amaka, however, felt overwhelmed. She was happy people noticed her now, but she didn't like the attention. Some came just to take pictures. Others wanted free things. It was harder to focus. And the worst part? Her mother hadn't said a word to her since the slap. Even Uche became distant. He started acting different, jealous maybe. One afternoon, he came to the stall and frowned when he saw Amaka laughing with a woman from a bank. "Who's that?" he asked. "She's offering me a loan. She said I can open a small shop next month." Amaka smiled. Uche didn't smile back. "So you're moving up now, forgetting those who were with you from the start?" Amaka looked hurt. "Why would you say that?" "Because you used to need me. Now you just talk to strangers who want to use you," he said, and walked away. Amaka watched him leave and felt a deep ache. Uche had always supported her. Why was he acting like this now? Was everyone only kind when she was small and struggling? Things at home got worse too. One day, Chinedu sent her a message. "You think you're better than us now. Don't forget where you came from." She didn't reply, but it hurt. These were people she had loved, people who laughed with her as a child. Now they were angry because she didn't stay in her place. One morning, a woman she didn't know came to her stall. "My name is Mrs. Olamide," she said. "I used to work with your father. I need to tell you something." Amaka listened as the woman explained that years ago, her father had set up a small savings account in Amaka's name. "He told me he wanted you to have something of your own when you grew up. He said he believed you would do great things." Tears filled Amaka's eyes. "But when he died," the woman continued, "your mother closed the account. She said you didn't need it, that everything would be under the family business." Amaka felt like the ground had moved under her feet. Her father had trusted her, believed in her, and that was taken from her. "Why are you telling me this now?" she asked. "Because the world is finally listening, and your story gave me courage," Mrs. Olamide said. That night, Amaka cried again, not from sadness, but from pain that had been hiding for years. She understood now why she always felt alone in the family. They had taken what was hers. They had lied. The next day, she met Mr. Tunda at a quiet cafe. He had been helping her behind the scenes, connecting her to lawyers and advisors. She told him everything. "We can take legal action," he said. "It's not just about money. It's about what's right." Amaka thought hard. "I don't want revenge, but I want the truth out. I want people to know my father saw me, that he believed in me. I'm not the foolish girl they made me feel like." Mr. Tunda nodded. "Then we'll do it the right way." Meanwhile, back at the family supermarket, things were falling apart. Sales kept dropping. Some staff left. A small protest started outside one day, people holding signs saying, "Support women who dare to dream." Ifeoma was furious. She blamed Amaka for everything. She sent her a message. "You're destroying us. Is that what you wanted?" Amaka replied with only one sentence. "I just wanted to be respected." And that was the truth. Her life was growing now, slowly, painfully, but beautifully. And as she sat under her market umbrella one quiet morning, she knew one thing for sure. She would never go back to silence. It was a Friday morning. The sky was heavy with clouds, and there was a strange silence in the air. Amaka stood behind her stall, arranging her goods as usual. She had become used to the attention, the whispers, the photos. But today felt different. She received a phone call from a lawyer. "We found something," he said. "There's a will. Your father left it, but it was never shared." Amaka froze. "A will? What does it say?" "Your father left you ownership of a new piece of land he bought before he died. He wanted you to use it to build your own business, not part of the family store, something for you alone." Amaka's heart beat fast. "Why didn't anyone tell me?" "Your mother kept it hidden," the lawyer said. "We're filing for legal access today, but you need to be careful. When this gets out, things will explode." And explode they did. That afternoon, a journalist published a full story online. "Daughter of business tycoon left out of inheritance. Hidden will exposed." The article showed pictures of Amaka's stall, told the story of the slap, the market, the NGO, and now, this land that was supposed to be hers. By evening, the story was everywhere. People marched to Amaka's stall. They clapped for her, praised her. "You're the real daughter of your father," one woman said. Meanwhile, at the Chibuzo family house, chaos broke out. Ifeoma threw her phone on the floor. "How dare she? She's lying!" Mrs. Chibuzo sat in silence, reading the article again and again. "You knew about the will, Mama," Ifeoma shouted. "Why didn't you burn it? Why didn't you stop it?" Mrs. Chibuzo looked at her daughter with tired eyes. "Because it's not a lie." Ifeoma's mouth dropped. "What? I knew," she said softly. "Your father gave it to me before he died. He told me Amaka was different, that she needed space to build her own path. I was afraid she'd grow bigger than us, so I hid it." Ifeoma stood up, breathing fast. "You mean you let me fight her all these years, when she was the one he trusted?" "I was wrong," her mother whispered. "Very wrong." Ifeoma grabbed her car key. "I'm going to the market." She drove fast, her face hard, her hands shaking. At the market, a small crowd had gathered. Amaka stood in the middle, her phone in her hand, still reading the article. Her eyes were red. She didn't know whether to feel happy or broken. Then Ifeoma stepped out of her car. People turned. Phones came out. The crowd grew quiet. Amaka looked up. Their eyes met. Ifeoma walked straight up to her. "You win," she said loudly. "You got what you wanted. You ruined our name. Are you proud of yourself?" Amaka didn't move. "I never wanted to ruin anything. I just wanted the truth. You could have come home. We would have found a way. I tried, Ifeoma, many times. You laughed at me. You called me weak. And all this time, I had something that was mine, and you all kept it from me. I didn't know," Ifeoma shouted. "I didn't know about the will. But you knew how to make me feel small," Amaka said, her voice breaking. "You knew how to make everyone laugh at me. You didn't need a will to do that." Ifeoma looked away. She had no words. The crowd was watching, recording. It was quiet, but the tension was loud. Then, a woman's voice spoke from behind. "I'm sorry." It was their mother. She walked slowly to the stall, stood between her daughters, and faced Amaka. "I wronged you," she said. "I was afraid of your strength, afraid you would leave us behind. So I forced you to be small." Amaka's eyes filled with tears. "I am not asking for your forgiveness," her mother said, "but I am telling the world, I failed you." Gasps filled the crowd. Amaka was shaking. "You hurt me deeply," she said. "I begged you to believe in me, but you chose to stand with everyone else." "I did," her mother said, "and I will regret it for the rest of my life." Then, she took Amaka's hand. "Use the land. Build what you dream. Your father would be proud." Amaka pulled her hand back, gently. "I will build, but not because of land, not because of a name. I will build because I finally believe in myself." There was silence. Then, claps. Slow at first, then louder. Tears rolled down Amaka's face. She turned away, picked up her basket, and started packing. She wasn't running. She was rising. That moment was the twist, the turning point, not just in the story, but in her soul. The days that followed were full of change. Amaka no longer felt small or unseen. People treated her with respect, not pity. Her story had spread far, and now she had meetings every week with business leaders, banks, and women's groups. But she stayed the same. Every morning, she still came to the market, even if just to sit for an hour and greet her old customers. She said the market was her root, and she never wanted to forget where it all started. One morning, she stood in front of a new building. It was simple, not too big, but bright and full of hope. The name on the sign read, Amaka Foods. It was her first official shop. Inside, baskets of fresh vegetables were arranged neatly. There were shelves with sauces, pepper mixes, and spices she created. On the wall hung a photo of her father, smiling. She stood there quietly, taking it all in. Uche came beside her. He had returned 2 weeks ago, after weeks of silence. I was jealous, he admitted. I was scared you were going too far without me. Amaka looked at him with a soft smile. You helped me when no one else did, but I couldn't stay small just to make others comfortable. I know, he said, and I'm proud of you. They stood there for a moment, letting the wind blow gently between them. That afternoon, Amaka held a small opening event. Nothing fancy, just music, food, and laughter. Her workers were women from the market, single mothers, young girls, and widows she trained to run things with her. Mrs. Chibuzo came, but she didn't say much. She stood at the back, watching. Her eyes held something new, regret, maybe, or peace. When Amaka went to greet her, she simply held her hand and said, "You're everything your father said you would be." Amaka nodded. That was enough. Ifeoma didn't come, but she sent a message. I'm taking time to think. Maybe I wasn't ready to let go of control, but I see now what I did. I hope one day we can talk again. Amaka didn't know how she felt about it. Forgiveness is not always quick, but she was open to the future. Weeks passed. Amaka started a mentorship program called Her Hands. It helped women who wanted to start small businesses. She taught them what she had learned, the hard way. She taught them how to price, how to speak with confidence, how to say no, and how to believe in themselves when no one else did. One of the first women in the program was Chika, the same teenage girl who had helped Amaka early on. Now Chika was running her own fruit stall, smiling with pride. One day, a man from a news station came to do a follow-up interview. He asked Amaka, "What do you think success means?" She looked around, at her shop, her workers, the people buying and laughing. Then she said, "Success is not just money or fame. For me, success is waking up and knowing I'm living my truth, that I didn't let fear or shame stop me." The man nodded. "And what would you tell your younger self?" Amaka smiled. "I would tell her, cry if you need to, but don't stop. They'll laugh, they'll doubt you, they'll even hate you for changing, but keep going. One day, even your silence will speak louder than their noise." The camera turned off. The interview was done. Amaka walked outside and looked at the road she used to stand by, selling tomatoes with sweat on her face and hope in her heart. Now, she stood tall, not because life got easier, but because she got stronger. She didn't just survive her story, she rewrote it. One quiet evening, after the shop had closed and the streets were calm, Amaka sat on a wooden bench outside her building. The sky was orange, the sun slowly setting. She held a small notebook in her hands, the one she used to write her dreams in when she first left home. She opened the first page. The writing was old and shaky. It said, "One day I will have a shop with my name on it. I will sell with dignity. I will not beg for respect. I will earn it." Amaka smiled, tears filling her eyes. She had forgotten she wrote that. Back then it felt impossible, but here she was. The shop was real, the respect was real, and most of all, she had done it on her own terms. She looked up at the stars starting to appear. Behind her, inside the shop, she could hear laughter. Chika and the others cleaning up and sharing stories. The place was more than a business. It had become a home. Her phone buzzed. A message from Ifeoma. "I saw your latest video. You're really doing well. I'm happy for you." Amaka didn't reply right away. She just looked at the message, feeling a small piece of peace return to her heart. She placed the notebook back in her bag, stood up, and looked at her reflection in the glass door. For the first time in her life, she saw not the little sister, not the runaway, not the roadside seller, but a woman who fought, healed, and rose. Amaka walked inside, closed the door behind her, and turned off the lights. The night was still, quiet, full of promise, and she was ready for whatever came next.